That Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book?
FBI.
But who? That is I mean, there's.
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list? Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
This isn't about Epstein or 9/11 or JFK or RFK. It is, but it isn't. It's about a bigger thing. If you're lying about that, you're lying about everything. Who's on the Epstein tapes, folks? Who's on those tapes? Who's in those black books? Why have they been hiding it?
And this is something Donald Trump has talked about. The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
Everything's going to come out to the public. The public has a right to know. Americans have a right to know.
President Trump and members of his administration for years building up the Jeffrey Epstein case and promising that everything will come to light. That's not what Trump's Department of Justice is delivering, and now that has become a major issue for the president's base. We'll explain why his supporters are upset and how the president responded over the weekend. Plus, a judge's ruling is now limiting how immigration officers can operate in the field. We'll explain that legal decision. It comes as new polling shows support for the Trump administration's immigration crackdowns appears to be slipping. Also ahead, the president has teased a major announcement today on the war in Ukraine. We'll go through that new reporting.
And on that front, on Ukraine, we're also going to be having David Ignatius coming to talk about weapon systems, defensive weapon systems that the president's talking about sending into Ukraine.
Correct. Good morning and welcome to Morning Joe. It is Monday, July 14th. Good to be with you. With us, we have the co-host of our fourth hour, contributing writer at The Atlantic, Jonathan Lemire, and managing editor at The Bulwark, Sam Stein, is with us this morning. And we begin with President Trump's MAGA base and the growing turmoil over the administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case files. The controversy began more than a week ago when the Justice Department and FBI announced they had found no evidence that Epstein kept a client list, contradicting Attorney General Pam Bondi's past suggestion that such a list from the convicted sex offender existed and was even on her desk. Conservative influencers began to criticize both Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel for their findings, which came months after Bondi pledged to reveal major revelations about Epstein, including a lot of names and a lot of flight logs. Soon after, Semafor reported Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino was weighing his future with the Bureau after clashing with Attorney General Bondi over the Epstein case files. Over the weekend in Florida, attendees of the conservative Turning Point USA's Student Action Summit erupted in boos over the Trump administration's handling of the Epstein case. And top MAGA leaders questioned and even criticized the White House from both the stage and on their social media accounts.
Who have you seen? Pam Bondi. She has never missed an opportunity to go on television and dangle sweet nothings that might be coming your way. Try to lead you to believe that she's got it, it's on her desk, it's coming tomorrow, you're gonna see something on Epstein. And it was a tease. So you either believe that Pam Bondi was telling the truth then, or that she's telling the truth now, but both cannot be true. She was either lying when she went on Fox News all those times saying, I've got it, we're looking at it, wait until you see it, it's horrible. Or she's lying in her 2-page memo that they released on a Sunday night at the tail end of a holiday weekend to Axios, as if Axios is where we all go for our news. Hell no. She went to someone she knew would not kick the tires on the story, and without signing the memo, dropped it in the dead of night and said, that's it, take the crumbs and be happy. Make some noise if you care about the Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
Raise your hand if it matters a lot to you. Raise your hand. So every hand of 7,000 people.
Everybody cares.
A lot. I said a lot. Every hand.
There is a lot, and we're not gonna like everything. There's a lot that's kind of bubbling under the surface, and I know you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to ask a few questions to all of you. How many of you are satisfied? You can clap. Satisfied with the results of the Epstein investigation? Clap. Okay, I told you to clap. You guys aren't listening. I'm not going to grade you on a curve. So I was going to get to that. How many of you are not satisfied with the results of the investigation? It looks like it's going to be, and now this is like the who's going to be off the island first, right? This is who's going to be voted off the island first. And I don't know what to believe on that.
I would strongly recommend in that, because I've argued for this from the beginning, that in that arc of looking at how the deep state has tried to stop Trump and the MAGA movement, you can easily fit in the Epstein situation, right? If you want the full release of documents, the special prosecutor gets it, and here's why. Epstein is a key that picks the lock on so many things, not just individuals, but also institutions, intelligence institutions, foreign governments, and who was working with him on our intelligence apparatus and in our government. This is why it's a time for choosing now.
Meanwhile, President Trump is publicly defending Attorney General Pam Bondi's handling of the Epstein case. The president took to social media, calling on his MAGA base to end its obsession with Epstein, writing in part, quote, "They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world, and selfish people are trying to hurt it all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein." His post was met with widespread backlash among his own followers and also prompted this response from tech billionaire and former Doge leader Elon Musk. Quote, "Seriously," he said, "Epstein half a dozen times while telling everyone to stop talking about Epstein just released the files, as promised." At the same time, two sources familiar with President Trump's thinking tell NBC News he has not lost confidence in anyone involved and has full confidence in his team. One source added at this time, there is no expectation for any changes to the leadership.
So, Jonathan Lemire, obviously, this is a story that has riled MAGA world over the past 3-4 days. And there are a couple things I don't understand. Maybe you have a better understanding of it. One is that we heard that Dan was considering quitting.
Bongino. Dan
Bongino was considering quitting. And we earlier in the weekend heard that Kash Patel was, but he clarified that. What I don't understand is it seems that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino said the same thing a couple of weeks ago that Pam Bondi said, last week, which started this entire eruption. I mean, it seems to be fairly consistent there. So I don't know why there's this divide between the DOJ and the FBI. Maybe you can help me there. Secondly, there seems to be an argument coming out of the White House that these files don't exist. And at the same time, the White House is saying this is all a setup. These files were all setups by Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. I mean, those two things can't. We often say two things can be true at one time. Those two things cannot be true at one time. You cannot have files that do not exist that were set up by Barack Obama, when in fact all of this happened years after Barack Obama, as far as the Justice Department launching the investigation happened a few years after Barack Obama was like already golfing and wind sailing and going on cruise ships.
There are so many inconsistencies.
So decipher this for us, if you will.
There are so many inconsistencies here. But let's start with the idea. The myth of Epstein is one that has been created largely on the MAGA right. Not to say that there aren't some on the left who have had interest in it as well. But we have, as you guys just played at the top of the hour, for years, not less Trump himself, but certainly people around Trump have been talking about this list and that it was going to implicate powerful people, powerful institutions, largely on the left, the Clintons, perhaps the Obamas, others, and they would all go down for it. And now we have seen, since President Trump took office again, a backing away from that. There was a statement a month back or so from the FBI, you mentioned it, and now from the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, this past week, saying, well, there's no list. Even though we have heard from her earlier this term, there was a list. We've heard from Kash Patel. We've heard from Don Bongino. There was a list. There'd be access to it. They'd release it. There was that much ballyhooed stunt earlier this year where they gave a bunch of MAGA influencers some Epstein documents, and that turned out to be sort of a bust, all just publicly available material, and that kicked up some backlash on the right. And now a real fury here in the last few days. And this is what's interesting about this. Do we know what the actual Epstein list is? Or even if there is a list? No, we do not. But what we do know is this is a rare moment, a very rare moment, where there is a real fracture in the president's base. And some of his most ardent supporters, we just played some of them at the Turning Point conference, but there are other social media influencers like Benny Johnson and the like who took to Twitter X over the weekend, really trashing President Trump, which we never see before, accusing him of hiding things, accusing him of not being honest about this list. And Trump's efforts to try to quell this storm, his Truth Social post, nearly 1,000 words over the weekend, did exactly the opposite. I mean, Truth Social, let's remember, this is a Donald Trump created and owned platform. This is the first time I've ever seen him be ratioed, meaning he got more comments, in this case almost overwhelmingly negative comments, than he got likes and approval, stamps of approval for that post. There's real anger here. And as you noted, Joe, his post had so many, suggesting that there was no list, but yet it was written by the Democrats. He was talking out of both sides of his mouth. And I'm told, back to you guys here, there's some real panic in the White House right now. A lot of people have gone quiet. A lot of people have gone dark. But they recognize, those that are talking, recognize right now, this is a problem. It's a first time they've had a problem like this, and they don't think it's going to go away anytime soon.
So